Hey guys, Lytane here, and if you don't remember, I'm a huge Disney nerd. I even dedicated all of January to Aladdin with singing and dancing and embarrassment, but it was a lot of fun. But I don't just love Aladdin, I love all of Disney, and one of my favorite characters is Goofy. In the 90s, he got a television show called Goof Troop, but I'm not here to talk about that TV show. In fact, I want to talk about the Super Nintendo game based on that, called Goof Troop for Super Nintendo, and seeing if this is worth it. Goofy is a very old Disney character, being created in 1932 and became a more defined and real character over the years to be the bumbling yet lovable idiot that we know today. He is often seen with Mickey and Donald and has many adventures both with them and by himself. In order to reach more people, they decided to give him a family with a wife that mysteriously dies. Damn you Disney and your off-screen parental deaths, why are you everywhere? That leaves him with Max, his son, that he has to raise all by himself. The show is something that I will talk about one day to be sure, and you don't really need to know any of this context because the game has almost nothing to do with the show, except that it stars Goofy and Max, and it is called Goof Troop. Released in 1993 for the Super Nintendo, you play as Goofy as he takes his son Max out fishing. On this trip, he sees a pirate ship with a kidnapped Pete and PJ, who is Pete's son. They are Goofy's neighbors, and Pete's a bit of a jerk to him, honestly. But being the hero he is, Goofy goes after the ship to rescue them and ends up on a pirate island, which is full of pirates. Turns out that Pete looks like their captain who was swallowed by a whale, but they think he has returned somehow. So as Goofy and Max, you need to go through each area, solving puzzles, killing enemies as you try and rescue your sort of friends. Just try not to goof it up, alright? The gameplay for Goof Troop is actually very simple. With the controls, all you can do is walk in every direction, you can pick up and throw objects, you can kick certain ones, and you can use an item that you have in your inventory. And that's about it. Because they're so simple, they are very easy to master. And master them you will definitely need to do because this whole game is a puzzle. It is a puzzle game. Each of the rooms that you will be going into are connected to each other, and you have to figure out how to best get through them all in order to finish the level. These puzzles mostly consist of figuring out how to get to the other side of the screen, mostly taking out enemies or sliding block puzzles. The blocks in the block puzzles can be kicked, and when you do, they fly in a straight line and only stop if they hit something solid like a wall. So you have to figure out the order and direction to kick these blocks in order to get them to their homes. This can be devilishly hard to figure out and require some thinking. You can also hold an item like a hookshot or a shovel, which are used to solve the puzzles, but you are limited with space as you can only hold 2 items. So you have to figure out which ones you need to carry and which ones you need to drop and where to use them. That is honestly most of the gameplay, is figuring out how to get past these puzzles and which items to use in which context. All of the items are used at one point or another, and they all have different uses. You pick up a plank of wood and you think this is useless, I can't use it, until you get to a bridge that requires a plank of wood. Then you have the hookshot, which is probably the best and most useful item of the game, as it can grab items from far away, and it can also get you across certain chasms. And then you have something like the bell, which is used to lure enemies onto traps. There are so many different items that you'll be using and that you'll need to figure out how to use effectively if you want to get through this game. And because you can only hold 2, sometimes you'll be like, okay, I'm gonna have the hookshot and the bell, and then you get to the next room and then it requires a plank, and then you have to like, oh, where did I see that plank last? I'll have to go back and go and get it. So it becomes a little bit of backtracking, and sadly the enemies do respawn whenever you come back onto a screen, so that can be a little bit tiresome, especially if there's a lot of enemies on the screen, because you'll have to deal with them in one way or another again. The reason why I think it does this is it resets the room every single time you leave. The point of that is if you make a mistake, you can just leave and come back in, and now the room is reset, so no puzzle is unsolvable. But that means just the enemies come back, which sucks. Honestly, this game is not very hard. There are going to be points where you get stuck. I know I got stuck at certain points, but with enough brain power, perseverance, and exploration, you will figure out how to get past the puzzle or where to go. So it's not overly hard. The levels themselves aren't terribly big either, so it's not like you're walking like Skyrim levels of map in order to figure out where to go. But after you finish each level, you are rewarded with a boss. Each boss fight is different, with you having to throw barrels or kick blocks in order to hurt them. They aren't too hard to kill, but like the rest of the game, it's a bit of a puzzle to figure out the way to hurt them. By now, you can see the art style of this game, and it's personally one that I love. The graphics pop off the screen with bright colors and cartoony aesthetics, with Goofy looking great. The levels are all varied and look unique, and even fit with Disney's style. This was made by Capcom, and they did a few other Disney games as well, like Aladdin, which I already looked back in that January month of embarrassment song, so you should definitely check that out. So even though the game looks great and the challenge will vary dependent on your skill level, it is a very short game. It only has 5 levels, that's it. And these levels aren't particularly large either, and with the multiple areas that you'll have to backtrack through, you will see these levels in and out. And because there's no real replayability to this game, because each of the puzzles will be the same, it's a bit of a sad thing. Like, maybe Capcom were too busy developing a Mega Man game or something with the replayability that has, that they just, fell short here. The best way to experience this game, despite its length, is with a friend. This game offers couch co-op where player 2 controls Max, and it makes the game slightly easier because you've got 2 brains and you have 2 people, so you can attack with 2 different areas and stuff like that, but it is much more fun. It is so much fun to go through and solve the puzzles with your friend. There are even certain puzzles that are made easier with the second player due to the fact that you can pass items to one another. But you gotta be careful because you can actually stun your friend with those attacks. So you have to be paying attention to what the other person is doing. Though there is a little bit of a cheaty thing that you can do and just walk off screen if the other character dies. Because if you walk off screen, they come back to life. Resetting the area that you were in for sure, but that means the other character is back to life. In my opinion, Goof Troop is worth it with a friend. This game is so much fun to be played with someone else. Just you and them going through each level, trying to solve the puzzles, accidentally hitting each other, laughing and having fun. It is just a joy to go through. Because the game isn't terribly long, being like 1 to 2 hours, you could get through the whole game with your friend and just have a blast playing it. Sure, you'll probably only play it once in like a blue moon, because the game is not terribly difficult, and once you've done it once, you probably won't need to go back, which is a shame. But I still recommend going through it that once. Maybe you can play it with a different friend next time. Maybe you can watch 2 other friends play and then laugh at them because they're hitting each other as well. Whatever you want to do, just having this game with friends is so much fun. The music is good, the graphics are good, the combat is simple but fun, everything about it is just fantastic, and I highly recommend this game, and if you do play it with a friend for the best experience. So tell me what you guys thought of Goof Troop the game. I have some fun memories of playing this with my sister, and also some troubling memories of playing this with my sister because she would hit me both in the game and out of the game because she's rude like that, and then stun lock me, and then try and kill me on purpose, and then not walk off the screen to revive me. Fun times. Sisters are traumatic. But tell me what you thought about this game, and write it in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye! In fact, I just want to talk about the Super Nintendo game that came out under the same name. So today I'm going to see if Goof Troop for the SNES is any good, and fuck it. You think after like nearly 100 episodes I would have gotten worth it right? Nah. Just try not to goof it up. Damn it, I did the goofy laugh wrong. Yoo-hoo! Yahoo! Yoo-hoo! That's more like banjo.